This month, I thought we'd try to change things up a little bit, try something a little different, rather than doing some sort of testing, or me just giving you an update about what's going on with the channel. I thought we would go over 5 questions about 3D printing that I get all the time. This gives you just a little bit better idea of the kinds of questions that I get, and my usual patented answer for all of those questions. So, let's just jump right in. The first question always is, what 3D printer should I buy, or what is your favorite 3D printer? And as a 3D printing connoisseur, I'm probably not the best person to answer this question. As a 3D printing user, I like the machine that's going to be the most consistent and give me the least amount of trouble, like the Prusa Mark III. It's easy to use, it has a removable bed, it tells me when I might be doing something wrong, it has its whole ecosystem, including filament and slicer, so I don't have to guess, and it isn't the best 3D printer in the world, but it is semi-affordable compared to a lot of machines, and it just seems to work. So if I need to get a job done, the Prusa type machines are the ones for me. Now, as a 3D printing enthusiast, I like something that's just a little bit more exotic. Let's say the Prusa is a Honda, I'm more of a Jaguar type person. I like linear rails, and I really like deltas. I love to watch them work, but they're going to be just a little bit more painful to use, and a lot of those machines, if I need to just get something done, that's not the printer that I want to use. I like to watch them work, but maybe not all the headache that comes with them. The next one is, should I update my firmware? Well, that's a very broad question. There are a lot of machines out there that come with firmware, especially ones that come with Marlin stock. Let's take the Creality machines, for instance. Your CR10s, your Ender 3s. Depending on the board that your printer came with, a lot of the Creality machines come with a 128 chip, so it doesn't have a lot of memory available. So usually I'm going to tell you just to stick with the firmware that you're using if it's working for you. Unless it's doing something strange and you think you need to upgrade, just stay with that firmware, especially on the smaller boards. Because a lot of the features that you would be able to use on the later versions of Marlin, you're not going to be able to fit most of those on that chip anyway. Now, if you are looking at a feature, something like Linear Advance, that really could help your print quality, then yes, I suggest you try to upgrade. But you might want to consider a board upgrade as well, because on a Creality machine, you're not going to be able to fit it. Now, if it's another board with like a 2560 processor, it might be something to consider. But for the most part, you don't need to upgrade your firmware as long as it's performing successfully and there isn't a feature that you'd like to try, such as power loss recovery came in some of the later versions, as well as a few other nice-to-have features. And that leads us into the third question. If I want to upgrade my main board, which main board should I get? And that is a really hard question to answer. You have a lot of different choices out there now, and most of them are going to be 32-bit. But there's certain things that you have to consider, and the biggest one is quality control. How much are you willing to pay for a board, and how much fussing around are you willing to do with it? I currently know a lot of folks trying to install Big Tree Tech boards, and the QC on those boards isn't all that great. You might even need to get 2 or 3 different ones to get one that works successfully for you. But the price point is just right. Some of those boards you can get for $25 or $30. So that's one thing to consider. Now, there's not a huge variety of middle-of-the-road boards in this market. There's a few around $80 like the Panikit boards, but to get a really nice quality board, it's going to be about $100 and up. Ultimachine, for example, is a very high-quality board, and they use great components, and they have great service. But then you jump to things like Duet, which can be around $170, and they run riprap firmware, so that's a big change in itself. Now, there's not a lot of middle ground in the board market, really. You have the very low end nowadays, and then you have the pretty high end. The jump from $30 to $100 is about what you're going to see. Consider something like an Ultimachine board. They do still use 8-bit processors on a lot of those boards, but they have a 32-bit board, the Arkham board, that's $180. Also something like the Duet board. It's also around $170, so very high end. They're great boards, they have great support, and they work awesome, but also something with Duet, you're going to have to go to riprap firmware, and that's another thing to consider altogether. So it's kind of a wasteland in between the low end and the high end right now. There are a few options in the middle, but not as many as I would like to see, and I hope that changes in the future. So what board should you get? Well, in my experience, the less you pay, the more fiddling around you're going to have to do. Now you might get lucky and get that perfect SKR board that doesn't give you fits at all, and it lasts for a long time. But again, in my experience, that doesn't happen very often. Now these next two are about support that I can give you on your 3D printer. And I do try to support as many of our community members as possible, but the first one that always comes up is, can I, Chris Riley, get you a Marlin config? And yes, I can, but there's a caveat to that. There's all kinds of things that I'm going to have to know to be able to write a configuration for your 3D printer. Now, if it's a 3D printer that's already on the market, you're just upgrading the main board or something like that, say it's an Ender 3 or a CR10, I can throw those configurations together really quickly because there's a lot of examples out there. I can just tweak a few things, make sure it compiles, and then send it over to you, no problem. But if you have a custom 3D printer or one that isn't very well known, that's going to take a lot of work on your end. I have to know things like what thermistor are you using, what extruder you have, how many teeth are on your pulley, what lead screw does it come with. All that information is going to have to be funneled to me before I can write that config, and that takes a lot of time. So if you have that info, no problem. But if you don't, I'm not going to be able to help so much. So that's the long and short of that one. And then the other question is, can I, Chris Riley, help you with your Octoprint setup? And that is kind of easy to answer nowadays, because I've gone through the steps of creating scripts to help troubleshoot Octoprint configs. I actually send you a script to run, and then it sends the information out so that I can read the logs, so I can troubleshoot a lot faster. And I do this quite frequently, especially with the multi-instance installs with multiple webcams. That's pretty easy for me to do. So yes, I can help with those configs currently. I don't know how that's going to go forward, but we'll give it a shot. We'll see how long I can maintain all of that. So there it is, the 5 questions I get asked the most about 3D printing, sometimes multiple times a day from multiple users. But that's really what this channel's focused on. That's why I started it in the first place. I really wanted to help others get into 3D printing. And I wanted to share what I learned along the way. And I have learned a ton. I still do try to get to every comment on the videos. I try to help as many people as I possibly can. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to sustain that, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I do really like to make these Patreon videos. They are just for you. Hopefully you find them entertaining and helpful, and I will see you on the next coffee break.